Drip coffee. The most consumed coffee style in America, drip coffee became a household staple after the invention of the paper filter in Germany in 1908 by a woman named Melita Benz, who literally used her son's school blotting paper. Hot water slowly drips through ground coffee and a filter, extracting flavor without pressure. This method took off in the US during the 1970s when Mr. Coffee machines started appearing in kitchens everywhere. It's designed for volume, not intensity, perfect for refills. A standard 8-ounce cup contains around 80 to 100 milligrams of caffeine. Latte. The word comes from the Italian caffè latte, meaning milk, coffee. However, Italians rarely order it that way. Asking for a latte in Italy will just get you a glass of plain milk. The modern latte as we know it was popularized in 1980s Seattle, where American coffee culture transformed espresso drinks into a canvas for steamed milk and foam art. A latte is typically 1/3 espresso and 2/3 steamed milk with a thin layer of microfoam on top. The milk mellows out the espresso, making it approachable for people who find straight shots too intense. A standard 12-ounce latte contains about 75 milligrams of caffeine. Espresso. Born in Italy in the early 1900s, espresso literally means pressed out, referring to hot water being forced through finely ground coffee at high pressure. The first espresso machine was patented in 1884 by Angelo Moriando in Turin, but it was later refined into the modern version we recognize today. A proper shot should take about 25 to 30 seconds to pull and produce a golden layer of crema on top. In Italy, espresso is meant to be consumed quickly while standing at the bar. Sitting down often costs extra. Despite its strong taste, a single 1-ounce shot contains only about 63 milligrams of caffeine, less than a full cup of drip coffee. Cappuccino. Named after the Capuchin friars, whose brown hooded robes resembled the color of the drink when espresso mixes with milk. Originating in Italy, the cappuccino became refined into its modern form in the 1930s after espresso machines improved. It's made of equal thirds, espresso, steamed milk, and thick milk foam. In Italy, cappuccino is strictly a morning drink. Ordering one after 11 a.m. is considered unusual, and ordering one after a meal is almost offensive. The foam layer acts as an insulator, keeping the drink warmer longer. A traditional 6-ounce cappuccino contains about 63 milligrams of caffeine. Americano. Legend says this drink was invented during World War II when American soldiers stationed in Italy found espresso too strong and asked baristas to dilute it with hot water. The name itself is a nod to American coffee. It's made by adding hot water to a shot or two of espresso, creating a similar strength to drip coffee but with a distinctly different flavor profile, smoother and less acidic. Purists argue about whether the water goes in first or the espresso as the order affects the crema. A standard 12-ounce Americano contains about 120 to 150 milligrams of caffeine depending on espresso shots used. Cold brew. Unlike iced coffee, cold brew is never exposed to heat. Coarse coffee grounds steep in cold or room temperature water for 12 to 24 hours, producing a concentrate that's smooth and less acidic. The method dates back to 1600s Japan, where Dutch traders introduced it as a way to make coffee that could be stored and transported on ships. Cold brew became a mainstream trend in the 2010s when specialty coffee shops started bottling and selling it. The slow extraction pulls out different compounds than hot brewing, resulting in naturally sweeter, chocolatey notes. Because it's a concentrate, cold brew packs a punch. An 8-ounce serving can contain 150 to 200 milligrams of caffeine. Iced coffee. Simply put, it's hot brewed coffee that's been cooled down and poured over ice. This straightforward method has been around since the 1800s, with early versions appearing in Algeria called mazagran, where coffee was mixed with cold water. The challenge with iced coffee is dilution. As the ice melts, the drink weakens. Some shops brew it double strength or flash chill it to preserve intensity. Iced coffee is often confused with cold brew, but they taste noticeably different because hot extraction creates a brighter, more acidic profile. A 12-ounce iced coffee typically contains about 100 to 120 milligrams of caffeine. Mocha. Named after the port city of Mocha in Yemen, which was a major hub for coffee trade in the 15th and 16th centuries, Yemeni coffee beans were known for having natural chocolatey undertones, and over time, the drink evolved to include actual chocolate. A modern mocha combines espresso, steamed milk, and chocolate syrup or cocoa powder, often topped with whipped cream. It's essentially a latte with chocolate and is sometimes called a gateway coffee for people transitioning from sweet drinks into espresso-based ones. Depending on size and espresso shots, a 12-ounce mocha contains around 90 to 150 milligrams of caffeine. Macchiato. The word means stained or spotted in Italian, referring to an espresso stained with just a small dollop of milk foam. Created in Italy so baristas could distinguish between plain espresso and espresso with a touch of milk. The traditional macchiato is mostly espresso with barely any dairy. In the US, chain coffee shops have flipped the concept into large, milk-heavy drinks that are closer to lattes, confusing many customers about what a real macchiato actually is. A traditional 2-ounce macchiato contains about 85 milligrams of caffeine. Flat white. There's an ongoing debate between Australia and New Zealand over who invented the flat white in the 1980s, and both countries fiercely claim ownership. It's made with espresso and steamed milk, similar to a latte, but smaller and with a higher coffee-to-milk ratio. The key difference is the microfoam. A flat white has a velvety, thin layer of foam rather than the frothy texture of a cappuccino. This allows the espresso flavor to come through more prominently. It gained global recognition in the 2010s when major chains added it to their menus. A standard 6-ounce flat white contains about 130 milligrams of caffeine due to the double shot typically used.